All right. Thank you for staying with us on Morning Sprig. And as I said earlier, as we usually do on this program, we look at the major headlines, from major dailies in the nation, and the papers are in. So let's dive right straight into it. By the way, Evelyn is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi. How are you
Thank you
doing
for being
today?
here.
Good
Very well.
morning, people.
Mm.
Thank you for joining us. I am Evelyn Ohiolei.
All right, very quickly, we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper, for today. And of course, it has this bold headline: Falana seeks compensation as Tinubu direct release of miners. That's one conversation that has really, created so much ripple and controversy, especially with the age group that is concerned here. Falana, that's the Lene Sikh detention. Falana seeks compensation as Tinubu direct release of minors. So, one will say, why did the nation, the prosecutors, by the way, go this route when they knew maybe something wasn't properly done? Does it have to take, the shouting, the screaming, the opinion, pieces by the people, and maybe the bad optics that it's already given the nation and this particular government before the president? We say, okay, let them go. Why do we always have to do things one crude people living somewhere in the back end of the world? But by the way, that's what we have here. With riders, President orders investigation and prosecution of officers behind action. Really, Evelyn, the hunter is becoming the hunted. What is this? Is it an action of throwing some persons under the bus? Does it sound like that to you? What are we having on our hands now?
Of course,
Officers are now being investigated and
yeah.
prosecuted. Who are those? Really?
Like
For
we
almost 3 months?
stated yesterday, Femi, it's a bad optics for the
Yeah.
country. And it's good that the president has waded in and has also ordered the release of these miners
Interesting.
and also instructed for investigation into it. But I wonder why the Attorney General is
Yeah.
not in the know of all of this
Mm.
beforehand, because the case was instituted on behalf of the federal
The federal government,
government.
yeah.
So I wonder
The
why
government,
there is a
federal government was
disconnect.
represented in the court.
Exactly.
There was a counsel who spoke on the matter.
By the presidency and the
Interesting,
people,
man.
the lawyers
Yeah.
handling the case.
Okay, all right. I just remember, a conversation I had with my boss yesterday, in which sometimes somebody must just take the blame. Okay, and maybe this is what we have right now. And with another rider saying, arrest inhuman. That's Bauchi governor. All of a sudden, people are finding their voice and voices. AGF to take over, discontinue case today. All right, because of time, and just below that, you have the top guys at the number one and the number two, flanked by a couple of young people, and of course, the minister of the Foreign Affairs state, Bianca Ojukwu, is there with other person, and I think this is about the newly, uh, you know, confirmed ministers who possibly have been sworn in yesterday. This is at the status. We wish them all the best. That's President Tinubu. His vice, Kashim Shettima, with the seven newly sworn in ministers. They will hold sway in their particular respective ministries. Moving on, Harris, Trump, in neck and neck as Americans elect new president today. I told you we'll be looking into that in the course of the program. And Olympics. Ohiolei awarded $5,000 compensation. Officials face sanctions. All right. That is an offshoot of the last Olympics in Paris, where something untoward was happened to Sarah Ohiolei. Now, Sarah Ohiolei is a sprinter for Nigeria. She has been awarded. But then the money, maybe, is okay. But then the fact that she couldn't really do what she has to do, what she has been preparing to do at the last Olympics, that's one time that she will never get back. And another Olympics will be in the next 3.5 years or so. She still be fit at that time. Time will tell. Moving on, MTN records 514.9 billion naira loss as subscribers drop. Okay, and ex-Delta Governor Okowa in EFCC custody over diversion of 1.3 trillion naira. They are put only at the back of that. And stop castigating leaders. Allow God to deal with them. Sultan. Interesting. Okay, you guys should stop castigating leaders. Allow God to just. I don't know the kind of leaders that His Eminence Sultan of Sokoto is talking about. Either religious leaders or political leaders or traditional leaders. But he's saying leaders should not be castigated. Allow God to deal with them. Okay. FG revokes Abuja Kaduna highway contract. And finally, from the Daily Trust for this morning, no going back on Forex subsidy reforms. Finance Minister. That will be all on the front page of the Daily Trust.
And from the Daily Trust, we had to Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. Let's check out what stories have made it to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. The big, bold caption there is on the bad governance and security agencies involved in minors' arrest, prosecution to face probe. The double riders as Tinubu directs release of young detainees, asks humanitarian ministry to take charge of their welfare. That's on Nigerian Tribune this morning. And away from that, appeal court acquits ex-CJN Onoga of false assets declaration conviction, orders FG to unfreeze his bank accounts. Appeal court acquits ex-CJN Onoga of false assets declaration conviction, orders FG to unfreeze his bank account. Remember that particular litigation, and it's been going on for years. That was during the administration of President Muhammad Buhari, and it's been on for years. It's good that is off the hook.
After how many years now?
And
really?
Not just off the hook,
drama,
it's been
discharged
the way
that
and
thing was
acquitted.
done,
exactly.
The speed in which, more like something that has just been documented. People are just taking their part or act their part and just put it out from the CCB rather, Conduct Bureau, to everything, and it was removed. And then Justice Tanko came in, and the man has been at the court. Finally, you know what they say about the wheel of progress? Sometimes it's very slow.
All right. This justice may have been delayed, but it wasn't denied for him.
Well.
Auxiliary appears in court amid tight security. Judge transfers case filed to CJ for reassignment. North conducts airstrikes to support power restoration in Northwest. Kill several terrorists. And the picture there is that of the two contenders in the United States presidential election about to go down today. Trump-Harris campaigns push for record voter turnout in battleground states, with Ryder hoped to secure victory in tight race. Yes, analysts have said it's not no one can put a call to it at this time. It's a tight race, and it can go either ways. It can be Trump, it can be Kamala. We just have to wait and see who finally wins. Ohando rather announces 51% growth in revenue to 2 trillion naira in first half of 2024. Top strip, Nigerian Tribune, Oni Olugbonpali to unite Yoruba Obas. A writer here says Oni never visited Oluwo. This is according to Olugbon. And a large diversion of 1.3 trillion naira, EFCC arrests Okowa. APC now afraid of Nigerians, or your PDP. PDP labels APC party of vampires. I'll take that again. APC now afraid of Nigerians. This is coming from your PDP with a rider. PDP labels APC party of vampires. One may want to ask, where did Governor Seyi Makinde all of a sudden get his voice from, especially with this, narrative is pushing against the APC. There was a time he was in for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What happened?
Their group, the integrity group then, Wike, Piazu, Otom, and himself, might say they work for a man, But then that same man is the head vampire, according to him. Right? So all of a
And
sudden,
Wike is still in the
I'm
administration
telling
of
you,
the APC.
these are the issues.
All right, that will be all from Nigerian Tribune.
Next up is the Guardian newspaper, and of course, what leaders nations anxious as the U.S. decides Harris-Trump's fate. You can see the both contenders there, having a go at themselves, and at the center is the White House. That's a coveted prize, the residence that is waiting for the next president of the U.S. Away from that, reps probe NNPCL as protesters lament fuel crisis. The House of Reps is probing the NNPCL. Interesting. Just below that, you have the picture of the executive director, Museum of West African Art, Philip Hienacho, the DG, Center for Black and African Art and Civilization, Aisha Oge, and the DG, National Commission for Museums and Monuments, Olugbile Holloway, and Director General, National Gallery of Art, Hamid there, Sodangi, at the preview event of Mowa Institute. Mowa is the first purpose-built building in Benin in Edo State. Away from that, and bad governance. Legal news tightens on Borno miners despite Tinubu's reprieve. Okay, maybe there's another angle. Who are these? The Borno miners. All right, because we have the ones we're talking about are majorly from Sokoto and Kano. Okay, Kaduna and Kano rather. So we are having the angle of some miners from Borno State as well. Below that, EFCC detains Delta ex-governor Okowa who alleged 1.3 trillion naira fraud. We hope Okowa won't be looked for here and there, just like the case of the White Lion, former governor of Kogi State. I hope he doesn't jump bail and he won't hide that the special lion that governed, Kogi State for like 8 years, still, a wanted man right now. Even when he used his legs to walk into the building of the EFCC, EFCC said they are still looking for him. Our investment in creative art culture sectors transformed Edo, says Obaseki. I could have asked Evelyn, okay, if that is true, but it's not time for that. Or your PDP flays APC's reaction to Makinde, supports governor. All right, and Tinubu tells ministers to be focused as Edom backs forex subsidy reforms. And bottom strip, average truck driver loses 200,000 naira daily to gridlock inefficiencies at Apapa Port. Okay, that's a report. 200,000 naira being lost at Apapa Port due to the gridlock, and of course inefficiencies at the port. Who pays for that? The jury is in the hoping, and that will be all from the Guardian's front page for today.
Very quickly, let's get on to the Punch newspaper this morning. Hungry miners. Tinubu orders probe as FG backs down. Miners' arraignment dent on Tinubu's government, says opposition. CSOs demand compensation for detained protesters. A lot of people are speaking on this matter. And Tinubu asks new ministers to stay resilient amid criticism, abuse. It said his government, his administration is on the path of economic recovery. And, yesterday while speaking to the new ministers, said they've been called to service.
Yeah.
And that's the ultimate or, biggest call you can have as a Nigerian or as any citizen of any country, called by your country to serve. And, urging them to work with him on this path of economic recovery, that if not for his administration, the country was already, moving into bankruptcy. But they came in and rescued the situation. But, this has got Nigerians talking. The country is on the verge of bankruptcy, but, your administration got new private jets, new cars for the office of the First Lady and all of that. I went through social media yesterday, and I saw the reaction of people to his statement yesterday. All right, but of course, we hope that the new ministers, 7 of them, would be able to, give in their best in the ministries they've been, they are heading now. Stock markets rise as Trump, Harris battle for U.S. presidency. Cleric bags life jail for raping minor inside mosque. This is horrendous. This is sad. It's all shades of wrong.
Terrible.
Well, it's good that he's getting, consequences for his action, and I hope that the minor in this case is also provided with some therapy, not just left to our parents or to our guardian, but she's provided with therapy because
Support.
it's a whole lot of trauma. It's going to be a whole lot of trauma for her. Or your PDP defense Makinde says APC scared of Nigerians. All right, the fire is coming from your state. Imported petrol, top strip, the Punch newspaper this morning. Imported petrol cheaper than Dangote's 990 naira per litre. This is coming from marketers. And UK to raise tuition for varsities in 2025. EFCC arrests ex-Delta Governor Kowa over alleged 1.3 trillion naira fraud. And the Ondo governorship poll corner, Ayedatiwa says government won't sack workers. And we won't repeat Edo mistakes, says INEC. So is this INEC agreeing that there were mistakes made? At what cost?
Implicitly.
Well, that will be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning and the newspaper review segment. We'll take this breather. When we return, we'll speak to issues in the United States of America. It's about to go down today. Two contenders, major contenders, I should say, Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, fighting for the White House. We'll be back on Morning Spring right here on Western Spring Television. Do not go anywhere.